All right, so we're diving into The Wedding People by Alison this week.
It's been everywhere online.
Yeah, it seems like it really has, and we've got a whole stack of reviews and info here.
It won the Goodreads Choice Award.
Oh yeah, that's right, for Reader's Favorite Fiction in 2024.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
And I'm really curious about this one because one of the reviewers said that the main character tries to commit suicide using cat medication.
Oh wow, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so what's this book all about?
All right, so the book follows Phoebe Stone, and she's at this, rock bottom point in her life, and she decides to check herself into this, super luxurious hotel in Rhode Island.
Okay.
But when she gets there, she realizes that the entire hotel is booked out for a wedding.
Oh no.
Which is kind of ironic, right?
Yeah.
Because she's there to, end her life while everyone else is celebrating new beginnings.
Oh, that's dark.
But, so anyway, Phoebe ends up getting mistaken for one of the wedding guests, and she kind of gets swept up in all the festivities.
Oh wow.
And she actually ends up forming this really unlikely friendship with the bride, Leela.
Okay, I have to stop you there.
Yeah.
So the bride just befriends this random hotel guest.
Well,
I mean, that doesn't really sound that believable, does it?
yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, we've all seen those Bridezilla movies.
Right.
But Layla is actually a lot more complex than that.
Okay.
She's got her own insecurities, and she's kind of struggling with this whole idea of getting married, and she really connects with Phoebe's honesty, even though she doesn't know everything that's going on with her.
Okay, so it's not just surface level then.
No, not at all. I mean, the book uses the wedding as a way to kind of explore all these deeper anxieties and compromises that happen in relationships.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of the reviewers mentioned how funny the book is too.
Really?
Yeah, people were actually laughing out loud at some of the scenes and the nicknames that Espash gives to the wedding guests.
Like what?
Oh, like high bun and neck pillow.
High bun and neck pillow.
Yeah.
I can already picture them.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's good at least.
Yeah.
Though I have to say, some of the reviewers thought that this suicide attempt was maybe treated a little too lightly.
Yeah, that's a valid point. It's a really sensitive topic, and it's not going to sit well with everyone.
Right.
But I think it's important to remember that the book is ultimately about hope and finding reasons to live. It does shy away from the darkness, but it also shows how Phoebe finds those moments of light amidst all the wedding chaos.
Okay, I see. So it's more about finding your way back from that.
Exactly. And the book doesn't just focus on suicide either. It touches on all these other big themes like marriage, infidelity, infertility, loneliness, disappointment.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's like Esbach took all these heavy topics and wrapped them up in this witty wedding package.
Well, that makes sense why it's getting so much attention then.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of A Man Called Ove.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
It's that same kind of blend of humor and heartbreak.
Right, and both books deal with grief and finding connection in unexpected places.
Exactly. So if you like that book.
This might be up your alley, too.
Okay, so we've got a book that deals with some pretty heavy stuff, but also manages to be funny and heartwarming.
That's S-Box for you.
Well, let's see what the reviewers had to say about whether it actually lives up to the hype.
All right, let's dive in. Okay, so the reviews for this one are all over the place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some people absolutely loved it, they were calling it the best book they've read all year.
Wow.
But then others thought it was just, okay, nothing special.
Okay.
Yeah, so one reviewer said that they found Phoebe to be super relatable, and they loved how the book explored the complexities of female friendships.
Okay.
But then another reviewer said that they felt like the characters were kind of flat, and the plot was predictable.
Oh, so like a mixed bag then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's not super helpful for our listeners, is it?
Well, I mean, it depends what you're looking for in a book, right?
True.
If you want something super unique and groundbreaking, this might not be it.
Okay.
But if you enjoy character-driven stories that are well-written and make you think about relationships, then you'll probably like it.
So it's more about the journey than the destination.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Okay, well, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
So what about the writing itself?
Oh, it's definitely witty and insightful. A SPAC has this way of using really simple language to convey these, really complex emotions.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, sure. So there's this one scene where Phoebe is watching the wedding guests, and she described this one woman's smile as being like a carefully arranged fruit basket.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Right.
It's so simple, but it says so much.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, it's those little details that really make the book special.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's why a lot of people are connecting with it. It captures that feeling of being an outsider looking in.
Yeah, like you don't quite belong.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of making me think about Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine.
Oh, yeah.
Like both books have these characters who are a little bit awkward and struggling to connect with people.
Right, and they both find these unexpected friendships that kind of help them through.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that theme of loneliness and connection is really resonating with people right now.
Yeah, maybe it's a sign of the time.
Could be.
Whatever it is, it's clearly working for Esbach.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely tapped into something.
Okay, so we've got relatable characters, witty writing, and thought-provoking themes.
Yep.
But, I always get a little nervous when a book gets this much hype.
I know what you mean.
Like, sometimes they just don't live up to the expectations.
Yeah, that's true.
So, did any of the reviewers mention that?
Yeah, a few people said that they found the plot to be a bit predictable.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, and that the ending was a little too neat and tidy.
Ah, the dreaded predictable plot.
I know, right?
It's like the kiss of death for a book.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
I guess not.
Like, sometimes you just want a comforting read.
True.
And even though the plot might not be super surprising, the characters are still really well developed.
Okay, so it's more about the characters' journeys than any big twists and turns.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this book is more character-driven than plot-driven.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that some people didn't love the ending.
Yeah.
Was it like a totally happy ending, or was it more nuanced than that?
I'd say it's more nuanced.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't really tie everything up in a neat little bow.
Okay.
It leaves some things open to interpretation, which I actually kind of liked.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, it makes you think about the character even after you finish the book.
Right, and it avoids those overly simplistic solutions.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
So all things considered, is this book worth my time?
I mean, if you're looking for a light and fluffy read, this probably isn't it.
Okay.
But if you enjoy books that make you think about relationships and the human condition, then I think you'll appreciate it.
Okay, so it's more of a thinking person's book.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Oh, well, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of reminding me of Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, really? How so?
Whereas, like, both books use a wedding as a backdrop to explore family dynamics and societal expectations.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And they both have this, like, cast of quirky characters.
Right.
Okay, so if you like that one, you might like this one too.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we give our final verdict, we should probably address the elephant in the room.
You mean the suicide attempt?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, it's obviously a major part of the book.
Yeah.
And I know some people are going to be sensitive to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, do you think it's handled responsibly?
I mean, I think Esbach does a good job of portraying Phoebe's struggles.
Okay.
But it's definitely something that potential readers should be aware of.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if you're struggling with suicidal thoughts yourself, this might not be the best book to pick up right now.
Right.
But if you're looking for a book that explores the complexities of mental health with sensitivity and nuance, then this could be a good option.
Okay, well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, taking all of that into consideration,
Yeah.
what's our final verdict?
Let me think. Okay, so is The Wedding People worth adding to your to-read list?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Well, I think it comes down to what you're looking for in a book.
Right.
If you enjoy stories that are really character-driven and explore relationships and you like a bit of wit and humor, I'd say go for it.
Okay, so it's a yes for character development and humor.
Definitely.
But, I also like books that make me think a little.
Oh, yeah, this one will do that too.
Really?
Yeah, it might not be like a super deep philosophical book.
Right.
But it definitely raises some interesting questions about marriage and societal expectations and just like being true to yourself.
Oh, okay, so it's got some depth to it?
Yeah, for sure. It's the kind of book that you can enjoy on like multiple levels.
I see what you mean.
If you can just get lost in the story.
Yeah.
Where you can really dig into the themes and ideas.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So final verdict, thumbs up or thumbs down?
For me, it's a thumbs up.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks.
Especially if you like books that make you laugh and think and maybe even cry a little.
Oh, wow. A real emotional roller coaster then.
Yeah, kind of.
All right, well, I think we've given our listeners plenty to consider.
Yeah, hopefully they have a better sense of whether this book is for them.
Exactly. So if you're intrigued by what you've heard, be sure to check out The Wedding People by Alison Esbach.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're looking for more deep dives into the books everyone's talking about,
We've got you covered.
that's right. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and join us next time for another literary adventure.
Happy reading, everyone.